All right,
So who's
PJ.
this?
So
Who's on the
do you want
line?
to tell me about? You told me earlier beforehand that you were also reading a magazine. Would you like to mention the name of that to me?
That's right. So I'm reading a Speak Up Sis magazine. It's basically not quite the first magazine yet. It's an introduction to the first magazine that's appearing in the winter time. And basically, these are real life stories. And I like the idea. It's basically so this company is based in Georgia, in Atlanta, or at least that is where the chief and editor is from. And what
Okay.
they've done here is that they've compiled stories or compiled real life anecdotes, essays, kind of opinions by real women. And I think it's very refreshing. Even the title,
Okay.
Speak Up Sis, it's already saying a lot. It's saying, say something
Sounds good,
in this.
PJ. But if you bear with me, I think we were getting a call.
Oh,
Hello, you're through to Books Boys. You got Dean and PJ on the line. Who's calling?
Hi, this is Angel Charmaine. I'm the
oh my
editor
God.
of People Speak Up Sis magazine. How are y'all?
Awesome. We're good. These coincidences, they never stop, PJ.
Well, this is crazy. And you're calling up, and we were just talking about you and the great stuff you've done. Do you want to tell us more about Speak Up Sis and about yourself?
Yeah, so first, how are y'all doing?
Ah,
We're good. We're halfway through another lengthy episode of Plenty of Books. I read too
controversial
much.
opinions.
I'm guilty.
Nice. He seems to not appreciate my love for Dr. Seuss. Only if we call him after his German name, Theodor Seisel, then he kind of seems to appreciate it.
Oh my goodness, Theodore.
What about what about yourself? You're amidst rain and winds and turmoil, right?
Yes, I am. Right now, Hurricane Ian is flying past the coast of Georgia, but I don't think I'm going to get any of that. So it's a good thing because I get to call in and talk to you all just a little bit. So thank you.
We're very fortunate.
That's very nice.
So tell us about the magazine. Well, I think that it mentioned when I was reading it and I was looking around the site that this is really the product of several years worth of labor and planning. So how did it all come about?
Yeah, so I resigned from my career in education in July of 2018, and I started a company as an entrepreneur in August of 2018. And I created for women what I needed for myself at the time, and that was community. I needed a space and I needed the opportunity to share some of the hard things of life that I was travailing. And so I created this space and I invited other women in so that we could have real, honest, heart to heart conversations. And so the magazine was born out of that. I've grassroots built the Speak Up Sis community. And so now this magazine, I guess I can liken it to an Essence or an Ebony or a Jet magazine without the celebrity. This magazine is designed for everyday women to see themselves and to be inspired by the stories of other everyday women. And so it's been about a 4-year journey to the magazine.
Wow. Wow. And you've
So
also written and published books. Was that before or during that?
My very first book was written while I was still traditionally employed, and the others came afterward. But that first book was sort of the I call it do it scared until you can do it brave moment. And I taught literature, I read books, but just because you like to read books doesn't mean you're going to be a good author. It's a different skill set, right?
I can vouch for that. I read, 6 books a month and I've never even attempted to write one. So I can vouch for that.
Yes. So that was I know there's something in me to write. I have something to say, but I don't really know how to do it. I don't really know how to go about it. And I did all the research and all that good stuff. And I just stepped out there and said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I decided I'm in the midst of my journey. I'm right in the heart of it. So I wanted to write a memoir, but it's hard to write a memoir when you're still living the climax.
That's
So
fair.
I decided there's more than one way to skin a cat. And I decided to create conversational narratives. And so I remix the memoir. I tell my story in bite-sized pieces of 10 short conversational prose pieces in one book. And so each book of the series includes these 10 conversational narratives where I share true stories, my life, and where I am currently in my life, things that I've learned from. And so people get to read about my life, but they're reading it in little bite-sized pieces.
So it's more like, yeah, it's not a complete memoir. It's like snapshots and sort of conversations.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
would your intention be that you just right now, you don't want to wait until you're older, whatever, right now you want to inspire women who are maybe in the place you were in even just last year, or even like right now and you're trying to solve it? Is that your intention? I suppose.
Exactly. Sometimes I believe it's difficult for people to feel like they can actually do a thing when they're watching you as a celebrity, because you're untouchable at that point. The majority of us don't really connect to celebrities. We want to be them, but they just seem sort of surreal to us, right? I think it is more helpful for people to be able to see you go through the journey, to be able to see you still in the struggle, because they can relate to that. And so to see my stories written, to read them, and to see me right now and be able to actually access me and touch me and know that I'm real and I'm human and I'm right here with them. Yet everything that I'm talking about, they see it in the writing that I've gone through it, but then they're watching me as I grow. So it looks attainable.
Yeah, so it's not, here is the finished product of a successful celebrity. It is, we're actually seeing someone go through the journey, and we feel that we can maybe relate a little bit more and empathize with that. And it's helpful to ourselves then as well. That's the idea, right?
And
Yeah.
women need this, women everywhere in the world need this of all ages. So it can definitely help. And now we speak, I suppose it's many women can help other women. So everyday women, and they can help everyday women too, right? I suppose, yeah, the whole kind of celebrity thing, and or even famous male authors, female authors, you just feel, well, they're from another world, so I'm never even going to try.
Yeah.
So you just
No,
want
we were both pretty lucky.
spread
We didn't grow up in a place that
talent.
had a rich celebrity culture, like maybe parts of America would have. I'm in Northern Ireland, PJ's in Gran Canaria. There's not that many kind of rich, famous celebrities in these two areas. I think that celebrity culture is not always great, and it's good that you're bringing something a bit more real.
Yeah, it's needed. And not only in everyday women, but I actually target a specific subsection of women. And we don't really like to use this word as women, but I'm going to call it what it is.
All right.
Women or seasoned women, or women of a certain age. We can spin it however we like. I believe the stories, the lived experiences, the life lessons of women who are sitting in the heart of being mom today, wife today, girlfriend today. They're at that age where they've got older parents that maybe they're caring for. We typically do not hear the voices of women between the ages of 35 and let's say 60. Because we're so busy taking care of our children, making sure our husbands are being ultra successful. We're trying to grow. We're trying to take care of our parents. We're trying to do all of these things. We just don't have time to talk to you until we're 70 years old and sharing wisdom. But I think that we've got things that we want to say. There are things that we need to say, and we need a space and opportunity to say those things. I believe there are 20 and 30-year-old women who need to hear 40 and 50-year-old women stories. They need to know what they're getting ready to come into, right? And they need to hear it from someone who's still relatively close to it, so that it's believable. And I just don't see spaces for women my age. I'm 45, just in case you're wondering. So it's rare that you see everyday 45-year-old women talking about anything, because they're too busy making sure everybody else can talk about what they want to talk about.
So the primary objective was to get this space.
I just want to mention.
Go ahead, PJ.
Well, that's a great point, because I was just looking at the sequel from Sex and the City. And the whole point is, I think they're trying to make it maybe more kind of universal. So there are people of this LGBTQ plus and everything. But I think they're missing a point. I think personally that is maybe even a damaging kind of portrayal of women in their middle age, later years. I just feel like Hollywood or literature or culture in general just has no clue, and that women above 40, well, maybe 40 to 60, as you were saying, they're completely just silenced and disrespected, and kind of society doesn't give them that respect it might give someone who's clearly, a grandmother figure, whatever that means, And if you're not a grandmother, then you're not respected either. That's terrible too. It's all messed up.
Exactly. It's either you're a young hottie dropping it like it's hot, right? And your body is perfect, or not so perfect, but you're still young and spunky, right? Or like you said, you are this grandmama, this Madea, and you're wise, and you're this sage, and everybody just respects you. But then you're like, where's that whole group? Who are you once you aren't as perky? And who are you before you just know everything and are so wise? There's an entire group of women who are just silenced, and it just seems like nobody really cares. And I don't think that people don't care. I think that we're just so busy making the world just run. Like I said, at that age, you're making sure your children are okay. You don't have time to complain about you. You don't have time to take care of you. Because you got to take care of your kids, right? I don't have time to tell everybody what I need, because I have sons in college. They need me. I don't have time to talk about, the fact that, I'm in the prime of my sex life, but I can't seem to meet a guy at 45, right? And so, because I'm so busy taking care of my older parents. So there's so much that we want to say. Or you got the woman who's ultra successful, she's doing her thing, and yet she can't stop and say, at night, I cry at 2:00 in the morning because I was sexually abused when I was 5. Nobody really cares to hear anything that I have to say because I'm working so hard right now, and I got all these other people I need to take care of. I'll just sit my stuff to the side. There's an entire population of women who are sitting in that space. And Speak Up Sis, I love that you said you were attracted to the name. It's a call to action. It's not just the name of a business. It's a call to action. Like, sis, open up your mouth and speak right now at 35, 45, 65. This is your time. And this magazine is for those women. You can't even pay. This is not a paid space. People can't pay me to put articles. They can't be highlighted by paying me. It's free. I just review the articles to make sure that they fit with, the heart of what we're doing. But I specifically go out and look for women who don't have a voice or who think they don't have a voice. And then I give them space and opportunity to talk in this magazine.
Wow.
And tell us a little bit
Great.
more about what the magazine will actually entail then. So you're looking for these women, are they going to be telling their story, or exactly what are the pieces going to be?
Yes, the heart of the magazine will be shared stories. The women can submit articles via the website. Excuse me, I'm not big on telling people what to write. I believe that people should speak in the way that feels comfortable for them. So if fitness is a thing, people can submit fitness articles. If faith is their thing, they can submit faith articles. The magazine will be sectioned, however, so people will be able to find what they're looking
Okay.
for easily. So there'll be a section for faith and fitness and finances and fun, right? Kind of that whole
Mhm.
FD. And then there will be articles. We'll decide based on what's submitted, what will go into those different sections, but they will come from everyday women. And I'm looking more for people to share their lived experiences in their articles. So even if it's an expert advice piece, there will need to be that component of, I understand this because I've lived this. Now let me share this with you. That's sort of what we're looking for.
It has to be personal, I guess.
It needs to be very personal, very, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for people who are okay with being vulnerable.
Okay.
Very much needed, yeah. And you've talked about your writing being therapeutic for yourself, right? And you've taken sometimes years to write something just to get it, just to kind of trust it to be out there. So is that what you encourage others as well, right? That if they feel like it, they can be therapeutic,
Yes,
but also help others in.
exactly. I believe that sharing stories helps to heal. It's kind of like when you think about someone who is being blackmailed, the only way that blackmail works is if you're quiet.
Mhm.
That's the only way it works. If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not ashamed of your story, then no one can blackmail you. You can't hold something against me that I've already told, right?
Yeah.
And
Good
so
point.
what I encourage is for people to acknowledge and own the truth of their lives. And then they get to control the narrative if they will just open up their mouths and share it. And doing that, you get to release guilt, shame, self-condemnation, and all that ugliness. And while you're doing that, you sharing your story is actually the breakthrough that someone else needs to encourage them to do the same. So in hearing you share, it allows someone else to say, man, I'm going through the same thing. And if she made it and she can talk about it, she's not dying, right? Then I can do it. At the heart of my belief system, I believe that authentic conversations help to build resiliency in people.
Mhm.
And when we can get to a place where we can just sit down and talk about things without all those funky feelings and people making you feel some kind of way, when you can get beyond that, then you can build those bounce back muscles. I think we would have a lot less depression and anxiety and feelings of hopelessness if people felt confident and comfortable to just talk and share and not hold that stuff in. So yeah,
Good.
most definitely.
Oh,
Well, most
very much
importantly,
so.
then, why don't you tell us the website where people can go and look, read a bit more and subscribe to the magazine?
Okay, speakupsismagazine.com.
There we go.
Yeah,
I want to
speak up
change
sis
tack
Nice and
real
easy.
quick before we let you go, because you
Okay.
mentioned that you taught literature, and it may not come as a massive surprise that we're both fans of that. What did you like to teach? What was your favorite kind of thing that you taught?
Oh goodness. Let me see. There's so many. I actually like teaching short stories.
Okay.
One of my favorites that I taught was The Most Dangerous Game. I don't know if
I've
you
heard
all
of
are
it.
familiar with The Most Dangerous Game with Rain.
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I've not read it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I'm trying to think which movie. There was a movie that sort of mirrored that. I think it was with Denzel Washington. Was it Fallen? There's this
Right.
song, Time is on my side. Anyway, it stuck in my head because it was so anyway, what happened? They were hunting him. And so
Right.
this, the most dangerous game, is about this guy named Rainsford who gets shipwrecked. And he notices that a gun sound, and it sounds like, you know, maybe they're hunters, but he recognizes the sound, the bullet is like, this sounds like a little gun, not a big gun, not a big game shooting. But anyway, he gets to this big palatial home on this island. He meets this aristocratic guy, and everything seems cool. But what ends up happening is the guy actually gets people on the island and hunts them.
Right,
So they become so humans are the big game. Anyway, kind of morbid,
Wow.
but it was really fun to teach, and the students really liked it. At first, they couldn't, you know, they were like, "What's the big game?" Is right, like
Wow, okay.
Rayford is the game. So it's a game,
Yeah, it's like
and yet he is the game, right? So anyway, that was
it's
one
an
of
interesting
my favorites.
it's an
I
interesting
just
theme. It reminds
Yeah, I looked it up there to see if I could find the movie, the Denzel movie, but apparently there is
Oh,
actually
Fallen?
I couldn't find it, but I did find that there's a TV show based on the short story as well. So apparently it's been adapted
Really?
several times. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to find
Cool.
that show.
Well,
So yeah,
PJ, do you have
short
anything?
stories are my favorite.
Oh.
Do you have anything else you'd like to ask PJ before we wrap up?
No, I think it's great what you're doing, and I really recommend it. Looking forward to reading more of the magazine. And yeah, it's great that you're um, giving voices to this demographic, to these women. So keep doing it, and I hope it becomes maybe more international as well. But there's a lot to do in the US, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
everywhere around the world, this is needed. So
Speak
keep
Up
it
Sis is actually my
great job.
company. It's Speak Up Sis LLC. The magazine is just one space.
Part of that.
We are an international company. I work with
Oh, good. Okay, I didn't know that.
we've got people that we work with in some African countries, in Cameroon and Nigeria, and the
Okay.
UAE. So yeah, we do things internationally. The magazine clearly is new, so we're working on. You all are my first international interview with the magazine, so I appreciate you all
Good.
so much. You're making
no, it's-
history today.
Who would have
Look,
thought that? We thought we were just talking about
it's
books,
amazing
PJ.
having
Today
you.
we are the history. You know?
You're there one day.
We
You're
are
gonna
we're in
go.
history.
You're gonna say, "Oh my gosh, she was on our show."
Yeah, I know. Like Angel Charmaine. I mean, this is amazing. Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's us.
thanks so much.
Angel, thank you very, very much for calling in, and we look forward to reading some more.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You all have a wonderful day.
And you too.
Okay,
Thanks.
you too.
Bye-bye.